our head coach, Jared. Why don't you just start us off with some comments on the game today?
12 and a half hours ago when we got here, we knew this was going to be a tough one. And the weather just pops up this time of year. We understand how that works, and there's not one thing anybody could do about it. And you had two good arms that were going, and essentially, I guess with a total of 4 outs out of the starting pitcher. So then you have to figure out how to manage the rest of that game. And Liam Simon in the ACC tournament was so effective in a start against Virginia. And I thought these teams were similar, very offensive, physical, and we felt like if he could settle in and get going like he did, he would have a chance to maybe extend it. And that's what happened. And then we turned it over to Alex was phenomenal, and Bedford and Mercer. We were trying to match up best we could to finish the game, and we did. And that's how you have to manage it. When you don't get very deep with your starter. Bertrand getting out of the bases loaded in the first inning, that was huge. Our first inning was difference making. The hit and run was really good, and Dave's big double that actually bounced out. If that thing somehow stays in, I think we clear the bases on that. Miller, who poor guy's banged up. I told him today, I'm going to find a way to get you in that game. And when I saw how this thing was developing for him to have a chance to run for Dave, I thought we could steal third base, and Miller's got to do it, and he's got savvy. That was obviously a key part of the game, and then they had to pitch so carefully to Brannigan with the infield in, and I think they tried to throw some breaking balls, and the one got away. I can't say enough about what our guys did. As a home team, we're out here first for batting practice, and we were here stretched at 11:15, and it's 11:50. So I am so proud. I've said since I've been at Notre Dame how tough these guys are, and today was a great example of that.
Questions?
Link, talk about the stolen base again. That was a pretty daring play. But
yeah, well, Miller likes to do things like that, and he's a gifted, intuitive player. So I didn't know.
That was on his own?
Well, I gave it to him, but he still has to execute it. He had the green light to run, which we normally do in that situation. And he's got enough sense and poise in that situation to make sure that it lines up and works, and he's not overly aggressive. And it did line up, and he did it. And when you do it right in that setting, it should work. But he's playing with a shoulder. He usually would dive. He's not really able to dive right now. So just a gutsy play on his part to actually settle in and do it on the first, I think it was the first pitch, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And the way that game was going, it was going to take something supplemental, it felt like, to score. And you don't want to go into this thing and score 3 runs, but at the end of it, you just need to have one more than they did, and that's what happened.
It was deflating that they scored the 2 runs in the 8th inning.
Yes, but I'll tell you, the guys felt like, all right, it's 2-2. It's not that we were behind, and when you have the last chance to hit as a home team, I think that gives you a little built-in confidence that you can figure it out. And again, that's why we played that inning the way we played it, is because I thought we had a chance to steal there. Now, Penny got the bunt down. It wasn't a great bunt, but you had to move somebody. That's when we pinch ran, and it worked today. But without Rayo and Liam and the bullpen executing the way they did, we would not have ever held them to 2 runs. That's a great team, and to strike them out, 18 or 19 times, tough. Chuck called a great game, and these guys went out and delivered.
What's the mood like when you kind of go in for a rain delay like that? You don't really know when you're going to get back there. 5:35, you come out, you're ready to go, and then you go back in. How do you keep them loose? Do you let them go? What's the mindset and mood of the team like?
Well, we told some stories the first time we were in the classroom. So we were in the classroom how long?
First time, probably like half hour, maybe an hour.
Yeah, maybe more.
Maybe. And then the second time, like 3 hours.
The second time, they figured out how to turn on the projector, so they were doing card tricks
Yeah.
like
Magic
on the
tricks.
projector, so you could see the card tricks being played out on the overhead projector. These guys spent plenty of time in the classroom, but I don't think that's ever what they were doing this semester in the classroom. But it was fun. It was fun. So they were doing card tricks, and every once in a while you'd hear somebody screaming and yelling, and the stuff we were talking about in there was funny and laughing, and it was a good place to kind of hang out. Now, after the first classroom session, eventually they said, Coach, you can go back to the hotel if you want. And it was so hot for batting practice and to start that game, they were just soaked. So we let them go back and like just change undershirts and just get out of here for a little bit and get out of that classroom, and had a bite to eat, and then came back. But it just, you don't want to start a game and have the pop up like you did. Nothing anybody could do about that. But then we didn't want the same thing to happen like the second time. So as that storm was kind of working towards us, we didn't want to put those guys out there again and burn 2 more pitchers and really get nowhere with it. So we wanted to find a spot where we felt like we could actually play the game. And if it got much later, like if we tried to reboot it and it wouldn't have worked, I think there was a thought of maybe pushing it to tomorrow. But this worked out right. It was the right move, and here we are.
Alex, talk about coming out of the rain delay, knowing that you and your bullpen teammates are going to have to carry this, basically 8 innings in order to get this win.
I think it's just characteristic of our staff. We kind of train to come into any situation. Doesn't really matter if we've been there before or not. We're just expected to come in and have our best stuff and just execute pitches. And I think that throughout the entire staff, that's our mindset. And I think tonight we did a really good job of it. No one's scared of coming into a big spot. Everyone wants that. And a lot of guys did that and executed pitches when they needed to.
Talk a little bit about your bullpen's effectiveness, especially with strikeouts, with Simon tying a career high, Alex with plenty of strikeouts. Is that something that's indicative of your bullpen, or is that just they were on tonight?
I would say both. We reviewed our season last year and obviously did a lot of things really well. But there was one thing we emphasized all fall and all preseason. What was it?
Burying pitches.
And?
We need to. Executing just good pitches.
And the strikeout. When you have a chance to put people away, you have to make the pitches that put people away. And there's not a lot of margin of error at this level for that. But if you looked at our strikeouts per inning last year, it probably wasn't exactly where you'd love it to be. Obviously, it was fine. But as we go into this, Alex's stuff has continued to dial up. That velocity is now, when you're in the mid to upper 90s, your secondary pitches become better. But the location of what you're doing with that kind of stuff should allow you to strike people out. And when you can strike people out and the ball's not in play, it's the least damaging way that the game can be played. Like the game ended on a strikeout. If that ball's in play, there's no telling what happens. Little things can fall in, ground balls work through the middle, but the strikeout is huge. So it was a point of emphasis, but without the development and the physicality of their stuff, you're only going to go so far in an attempt to punch out good hitters. And our guys have taken that, and we've done much better this year.
In the winners bracket now, what does tomorrow look like for you, kind of knowing what
It
the
looks
schedule
like
is?
it's 2 minutes away. I don't even know what. So I really honestly don't know right now. I guess this really helps us. I don't know what the format of tomorrow. I have no idea what the plan is for tomorrow. Obviously we're a game behind, so we did not want to throw Temple today. We talked about it, but that kind of would have thrown him off his rhythm a little bit. So whenever it happens, he'll be good, and we'll have to assess who's available. Some of these guys threw very few pitches by design. Like we had some matchups we were trying to emphasize, and we got them. So we'll have enough, and we would need Temple to hopefully give us a good start. Bertrand, what did he throw? 26 pitches. So that's a heavy, hard bullpen session when you think of warming up and then the 26 game pitches that were all stressful. Like, it was not a clean inning. At some point, he's going to be back in play. We just want to do it logically and safely for him.
Any other questions? All right, Coach. Alex,
Yep.
thank you.